You're now tuning into the Who and How Club with your host, Arys Dejan.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're thinking. Where the hell have I been? I know. For those who don't know, I mean, this podcast is pretty much like my therapy, and clearly I haven't had a session in about a month and change. So where have I been? Let's talk about it. Let's share that information, and let me update the people. But let me do things the way I usually do it, how we usually do it in orderly fashion, and to welcome everybody back, I guess, to the Who and How Club. You are the Who and How Club. I am the Who and How Club, and we are the Who and How Club. We are the Who's and How's of the world. So welcome to the Who and How Club podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy Arys Dejan, and I am back. Now, if my voice sounds a bit different from the last time you heard me, it's probably because your ears have to now readjust to my voice once again. Since we haven't spoken to one another in a while. Or maybe this is your first time listening in. So, you're not really familiar with my voice, and you got to get used to that. Or it's because I've been sick for about a week now. I'm about 98% healed. I still got that 2% to go before I'm 100% feeling like myself again. Now, if you are asking if me being sick is the reason why I haven't put out a new episode, you're wrong. It's not because I'm sick, because even if I was sick, I would talk to you folks. Talk to myself, really. Talk to you while talking to myself. Or talk to you through talking to myself, whichever one works. It's not because I was sick, that's for sure. Why don't we update the people? Let's update you guys on what the hell I've been doing. Now, I don't want this to be such, hey, look at me, look at what I've been up to, and that's why you haven't heard from me. I actually feel really bad. Like I mentioned earlier, like the Who and How Club is therapy for me. Self-therapy, self-care, you know what I'm saying? So talking to you all kind of helps me ground myself and center myself every week. So you could only imagine what the hell I've been going through in the past month and change without having this by my side and being able to talk to the folks, talk to all of you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between. Just a quick reminder, go to our website, whohowclub.com, and follow us at Who How Club on all social media sites and platforms. And if you just type in Who How Club in Google, you'll see all of our platforms that we're on pop up. Even on any podcast, platform, you'll see the show there. We're usually on all the podcast platforms as Who How Club as well, because we don't put the and the ampersand or anything like that in the title when you're on these platforms. So just to make it easy for everyone to find us, you can just Google the Who and How Club or at Who How Club or Who How Club, and you'll find us. I pray to God let me pray to the podcast gods that you could actually hear me and that everything is working fine with my audio, my laptop. I did a little sound check, and I couldn't even recognize myself. I'm like, who the hell is this? Damn, he sounds mature. He sounds a little more clear-headed. But I hope the people could feel his energy through, this sort of like first episode after being off for a month and change. That was really my concern. So I hope you guys can hear me clearly. I hope the audio is going to come out great. If not, I'll still put this out just to give you all something. And, today's sort of like a celebration as well because we're 20 episodes in. I know that I do my best to try to make this show on a weekly basis. But, life gets in the way. I do most of this stuff by my lonesome. So, I think I need to start ensuring that no matter what happens, an episode gets put out. And that's something that I'm going to be working towards. But if I could take a couple weeks off or whatever, don't chastise me for that. It's not because I don't want to do an episode. It's because some of the things have come up, and yeah. But I don't think it's that hard to find at least 30 to 40 minutes once a week to put an episode out, especially if I'm able to find some time to do other things, right? So I'm going to work at it. I'm working at it. The Who and How Club movement has been pretty busy. Let me update you guys and girls on what I've been up to. Now, agree with me or not, it's been the longest year ever, and we are only getting started. It is March 12th today. It is Thursday, and it's 12:34 p.m. I'm sitting in my apartment as my puppy sleeps and my guinea pig eats, and I'm looking out the window thinking, God damn, how many months are we into this new year? 3 months. That's it. And a lot has occurred. Now, I haven't spoken to all of you in a while, so there are a lot of things that have happened in between, and I haven't been able to address these things. Some things are pretty negative, depending on how you look at them. Now, there are so many platforms that exist right now that focus on those certain things that have happened in the past 2 months. Kobe, for an example, Kobe passing away in his untimely death. That's a situation that I haven't had a chance to talk about it. And I don't want to come off gratuitous and just talk about it for the sake of. The time to talk about that has sort of passed. And I think we need to allow that man, here on the show, we're going to allow that spirit, that energy to rest. And I know it's hard losing, someone. And his passing has really shaken up the world. But I truly believe that person's in a better place at the moment. And, everything happens for a reason, right? Hopefully that person's passing has awoken some people up, or awoken some people up to look at their lives and realize and recognize that regardless of you being a famous, figure, someone well known, or just anyone could go at any point in time when, whatever you believe in, when the energies call upon you, when our creators call upon you, you got to go. And it doesn't matter who you are or what you've done on this planet in the physical form. When you're needed in the spiritual form, you got to go. So I do hope that with that passing, people have looked at their lives and recognized that, time is short, and time is what you make it. So use it wisely and really focus on the people around you, because anyone could go. And not being able to tell someone that you love them before passing, or, doing those things that you wished you could have done with those people, or even, just showing the universe your gratitude for what you have and being alive. Don't wait till the end to do that. I think you need to do that now while you're aware of your existence and the time that you have in the present. Obviously, we have this coronavirus being the talk of the town and shaking up everyone. It has people buying toilet paper and stacking up galore on toilet paper. Another thing I don't really want to touch on today, and there are a lot of platforms touching on that, and we could go anywhere for that. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a scary thing. I'm looking online and I'm hearing people talk about it, and there's a lot of conspiracy surrounding that. This disease as well. Some people have passed, and I don't want to take away from that. Some people have died from the virus, and that's no joke. Obviously, we know how many billions of people are on this planet, so the people that have passed, not to take away, but it is a more so compared to the amount of people that we have on this planet. Has it become a pandemic? I don't know yet. We'd have to wait and see. Is it just a distraction? We don't know. We'd have to wait and see. But I would say just focus on being clean. Focus on, watching and keeping an eye out on your interactions with just anything that's not clean. Let's say that. And don't let the news or anything, put fear in your heart. Still just operate on a day-to-day and just pray on it. and walk with that positive energy, and just pray that you don't get exposed to whatever this thing is. But yeah, since we last spoke, the Who and How Club, a couple things within the movement started and happened, and I could update you guys on that. So we attended Podcamp this year. Now, I've mentioned Podcamp in previous episodes and how important Podcamp has meant to the movement. Before the Who and How Club even existed, I attended Podcamp as an attendee just to see, I didn't even know Podcamp existed before attending, and I wanted to sort of round my foundations of what podcasting is by attending this conference and learning some new things, you know what I'm saying? Make some connections, network. I was jotting notes down like no tomorrow and just soaking everything up like a sponge. And I attended one session at the conference that was hosted by CBC. And I always had this dream about the podcast, maybe being on the CBC network and, collaborating with them somehow and turning this podcast into an actual show. I have a lot of ideas for this podcast, for this movement, for this concept. But I learned a lot in that CBC session, and that was a few years ago, and they hold Podcamp at Ryerson University, downtown Toronto. And CBC had the big room. In my eyes, it was considered the big room, the main room on the floor, room 100, and it was a packed room. And I was listening to a gentleman by the name of Arys, who's actually on the mailing list. We've been in contact since the show has started. I told him that I'm going to build this up and maybe contact him and let him know when I'm ready. And I know that he's watching and keeping an eye out too, but we'll see. I don't know if independence is the way to be, or maybe connect with a conglomerate and bring this movement to a different platform. We'll see. I don't know what the universe has planned, but either way, from that moment I said, you know what? I know what I want to do. I know what I'm going to call this. I know why. And I just ran with it. I took everything that I learned from that first session at Podcamp a few years back, and I just ran with it. I attended Podcamp one more year to, again, make up for whatever I might have missed the year prior. I didn't go 2 days. It's a 2-day conference, but the first day sort of like a get together for everyone involved in the event and guests and all of that jazz. So again, I wanted to show my face and connect with the right people and attend the best sessions possible to connect with the right people. Then I sat with myself with my brain, and I connected with someone who was in my life at the time, and we were brainstorming, and I just came up with the concept, the Who and How Club. When I used to take creative writing classes back in high school and English classes, and when we would talk about stories and novels and how to write a novel, you always got to start with the 5 W's, the who, what, when, where, why, but also the how. And when I thought about what I wanted this show and this movement to be about, I wanted it to be about people. And when I thought about people, I thought about myself as well, and my connections and ability to have conversations and the ability to listen and all of that jazz. And I'm like, you know what? When I look at this world, people make the world go round, as the saying goes. And we are truly the who's and how's of this world, We are the who's. We are the how things happen, and the what's and the why's, and our experiences fall under those categories as well. The when's. I'm just like, you know what? I want to create a movement where people feel like they could be a part of something that sort of reminds them that they are the reason why, the world goes round. Their purpose, their purposes, their energies, their movements as just an individual. There's this big grand globe and world that we live in, and then there's also the individual world, and we are the who's and how's of that world as well. So I said, we are the Who and How Club. That's a club. This is like a membership thing where it's very inclusive. It's very exclusive, but inclusive at the same time. And I wanted to create this environment and this movement where people could feel heard. Long story short, and to fast forward to 2020, February, the Who and How Club, after that session at CBC, I said, you know what, I want to one day I want to run my own session. I want the Who and How Club to be known in this university, at this conference, and I want it to be recognized. And thankfully for 2020, submissions were open, and we submitted the show and our concept for our session on what we wanted to sort of present to the people and introduce the Who and How Club as an official movement. And they accepted our pitch, and we got chosen, and we were in room 100, a room that I never thought the Who and How Club would ever be in. And I felt like we had some big shoes to fill because CBC was in that room. I never thought that the Who and How Club would be in room 100. And I think the organizers of Podcamp kind of like they heard me talk about it, and I've expressed to John and Lillian how much Podcamp has really meant to the movement. Without Podcamp, I don't think the Who and How Club would exist in some form or fashion. So, shout out to them for accepting us this year and allowing us to just do our thing, which is, connecting with people. We brought some people together, had a little round table. Every session that I ever saw in there or at Podcamp, people, they sit in a chair and they face the facilitator's facing them, sort of like teaching. But I switched it up this year, and I conducted the session as like I said, it was very inclusive, and we created a circle. Everyone had a chance to speak and share pieces of themselves and who they were and why they podcast, or what a podcast means to them or to other people, and how they define that. And I got a chance to share with these strangers about what the movement represented to me and why I created it, and our events and the blog portion of the podcast and all that jazz. We took a group photo. I actually sent out a clip a few days ago of our experience at that event. So if you want to go on the website under the blog section, you'll see you could either go under the blog session to see the actual blurb that we wrote about Podcamp and just thanking them for supporting us this year. And you'll see the clip within that, the group photo with some of the people that were involved. The mailing list is growing. So, people are becoming familiar with the movement. And thanks to Podcamp, that's happening, and that happened. So shout out to them. You could also go under the visual section on the website, whohowclub.com, and you'll see the clip, or just go on our YouTube and you'll see the clip. The clip has been posted, so I'm going to promote it a bit more today. That's what the Who and How Club has been busy with. Another thing that we've been busy with is our Rampage event series. Now, when the podcast first, this in its inception, the Who and How Club was an event series, podcast, and blog. Event series, podcast, and movement. The blog portion wasn't even in the title, and sort of like the subtitle. And the event series portion came first because those who know Arys Dejan, we love, he loves to put on events. And those events either, include my art and me performing my music and talking about what I have going on, or I usually put on events for other artists and allow them to present what they have going on, whether they're poets, visual artists, singers, etc. Just bringing people together to have some good food, listen to some music, shout out my DJ Snacks, and just celebrate art and love and life together. The thing is, in the beginning, with the Who and How Club, the event portion, it was moving a bit slow. I had an issue with trying to find a venue, and I wanted the Who and How Club to have its own home. Fast forward like 10, 15 episodes in, and I got the opportunity to meet a person who connected me with a venue, and this venue ended up becoming, the Who and How Club's residency. So the Who and How Club has a residency where we're holding bi-weekly events now, and this event is called Rampage. The reason why we called it Rampage, I mentioned this before, but I'll talk to the new listeners, the new, first time tuning inners. For the Rams, my mom's an Arys. The Arys is a ram. I'm a bull. And, the horns on the bull and the ram and all of that. When the Rams, I just envision like those types of fierce animals who kind of go head first into things, especially when battling or combating, an opponent, or going after that red flag that's being, teased in front of the bull's head. They kind of attack in a rampage, they go head first. And at Rampage, we really go head first into the pages that we're writing on, because we do a lot of creative writing exercises, and we it's very introspective. We focus on our insides, our past, our presence, and our future, and we focus on who we are through conversation and through writing. So of course, page within the Rampage is attached to that, the pages that we're writing on, and we are the Rams that are going sort of head first, and we're expressing ourselves in a rampage, but not in the negative sense. I know that, the word rampage has those negative definitions, and, violence is attached to that. But I really want us to be fearless in our self-expression, and think about it. Think about, like, when we're writing, the energy and the feelings and the thoughts and the anger and the things that we've always felt from our brains, the things that we have thought, and the feelings in our hearts. Those things are flowing and connected, and they're flowing through our arms, down to our hands, onto the, through the pencil or pen that we're using to write onto the page. So I decided to just call it Rampage. I thought that it fit perfectly. And those who attend, the Who and How Club presents Rampage are Rampagers. And I feel truly blessed that, each event that we have had so far, 5 events in total, the 5th one being this upcoming Tuesday. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll be our 6th event since the new year has started. The Who and How Club has hosted 6 events in total. Well, 5, but the 6th will be this upcoming Tuesday, March 17th. It's just been crazy. I don't even know. I mean, I'm just trying to update you guys, but I'm showing my appreciation to those who have been involved in the movement. I don't want to gloat. I'm not trying to be like, hey, look at this. It's just really sharing the information on what the show has been up to, and what this movement has been up to, and how we're growing, and what our goals are. So the Rampage events, they're held at Blue Moon Lounge in Toronto, on College Street, and we're there every 2 Tuesdays. So if you need a mark as to where we're at with the whole bi-weekly event, this upcoming Tuesday, March 17th, will be part 4 of our Rampage event. So it'll be every 2 weeks after that. So 2 Tuesdays after that, you could come by, you could be a part of the event, and just see, what the movement's about. I don't charge at the door. It's a free event. Eventually there might be some sort of exchange, you know what I mean? The event is it's not even for me anymore. It's really for the people who come, and we just share a space which is pretty safe, that allows people to just share pieces of themselves and be honest with strangers. And, strangers are becoming team members and club members, and feeling comfortable with one another. And, we take a group pic, and we just talk about life, love, relationships, everything in between, and how to improve on ourselves. And we do that through writing as well. So it's hard to really explain. You just got to come through. Everyone that either tends to ask me or some of the other Rampagers, like, what's the event about? Our response currently is just like, yo, you just got to come through. You just got to come and see it for yourself. So shout out to the Rampagers and to the new club members that attend the event, because every week we've been growing, and we're running out of space. And I'm eternally grateful for people trusting what I've created in order to come together and just build a new movement and community. So shout out to them. A lot of them will be on the show very soon. I'm going to have them as guests on the show. And I'm going to be, filming some of the episodes at the venue, so you guys could get a feel of what the venue looks like. Shout out to Jamie, the owner, who has allowed us to, have the space. Even Jamie, every week we meet, he's like, yo, when are you charging? When are you going to charge? It's like, it's not about the money. It's not about the charge. It's about making sure people feel safe and feel welcome, and expressing this concept and defining it together as a community. So I've been pretty busy with that. That's why you haven't heard from me. Rampage, Podcamp, If you want more details on Rampage, check out the flyer on the website, whohowclub.com, under the events section. Also, if you follow us at whohowclub on all social media platforms, the flyer will be there, and there's a new flyer for every event. So if you need more details on that, just go check the flyer out, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. With that said, let's do a little read. And I pray that I haven't been boring you all on this first episode back. I really don't know how to do this. I think I'm losing my... it'll take me a couple times to get back into the groove of things. So bear with me. But let's take a little break. Let me do a little read for you guys, and then we'll continue and get to the meat of this sandwich for episode 20. As we know, podcasts are a great way to build great relationships with your audience and to grow your business. The best way to get your podcast started, or let's just say you're in the planning stages with your recording, you need help with finishing touches and the distribution side, I would say you could go to AUXBUS. I use AUXBUS for my podcast because it's easy enough for everyone to use. It also saves a ton of time. So you could get 50% off your first 2 months of AUXBUS with my special offer code, which is WhoHow50. So Who How obviously being from the Who and How Club, and 50 being 50% off. So use Who How 50 as your promo code when you sign up with AUXBUS today. You could be a new podcaster or a current podcaster that's like 30 episodes in, and use AUXBUS as a great distribution tool, which is how the Who and How Club uses it. It gets the show on other platforms or podcast platforms, to be precise. With pretty much a click of the button. Actually, I don't even have to do anything. AUXBUS takes care of getting the show on the platforms that you've chosen by itself. Once you upload it to your main site that your podcast is hosted on, let's say it's SoundCloud or wherever, AUXBUS is connected to that, and it'll distribute the episode to any other podcast platform of your choosing. So choose AUXBUS. Once again, use promo code WhoHow50, and hey, let me know if you sign up with them and use our code. I'd love to know. All right, let's get back to the show. Like I mentioned earlier, it's been the longest year ever. We're just a few months in, and who knows what the rest of the year has in store for us. With that said, I wanted to share like a little message of the day. This is the type of energy that I feel like we need to be on, especially right now. Now, I'm still a bit groggy and clogged up a bit, so if I sound a bit off, like I said, bear with me. I am still a bit sick, about 98% better, and we're going to get better as the days progress. But I want to share this with you before I go. Don't get distracted, all right? Don't allow everything that's going on outside of you take away from the focus, which should be you. You got to think about who you are as a person, as an individual, as a being, however you look at yourself. But think about how you look at yourself. A lot of people in life, they're going to dumb you down. They're going to distract you. They're going to make you feel like you're just on level 1. You're on the level 1 tier of existence, as if you're not deeper, or as if you don't mean more than who or what you really are. There's a spark inside of all of us, just like the Transformers. Each Transformer has a little spark, right? That's what really makes us, our DNA. And I'm not talking on a surface level. I'm really just talking about, the spirit, the energy, the soul, our hearts, our minds. This body is just a shell. What's inside is what matters. So what you put into your brain, what you decide to think of on a day-to-day basis, on an hourly basis, every minute, it can define you very easily, especially when you're thinking about something negative, or you're so focused on the past, or even so focused on the future. You're not living in the present. But I want you to focus on that version of yourself that you're aware of. Start thinking about yourself in a higher way, in a higher manner, higher than what people have ever said you were. Don't just limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to just being, just a regular, let's say your name is Stephanie. You're just Stephanie, basic bitch. Let's just say that's what you say about yourself. Oh, I'm just Michael. My name's Michael. I'm regular. I'm the most generic person you'll ever meet. Don't say things about yourself like that. Think about yourself. Think about the insides. Think about your feelings. Think about what you've been through, actually, and what you've made it out of. Think about the things you've accomplished. Think about how you're still here to this day after everything that you've been through in life. A regular average being, that's not that person's story. If you were a regular average Joe or whatever, I don't think you would still be here. Remind yourself of that. Think of yourself higher. Realize that you're a soldier. You accomplish mission after mission, and you survive. And you keep things going. You keep things moving. You don't allow anything to stop you. You don't allow anyone to stop you. That's for sure. Look how far you've come. Remind yourself you are that higher self. You are not on a lowered tier of anything. You have strength, you have power, you have powers, in fact. But it's time for you to get in tune with those powers and acknowledge them. Don't limit yourself and don't dumb yourself down just to make other people feel comfortable. Just because they don't think of themselves as anything higher than, what they see in the mirror when they wake up in the morning. Or what they've limited themselves to in their lives. Maybe they've allowed the things that they've been through to stop them. They've reached a roadblock. They haven't pursued the things that they've always wanted to pursue because of the things or the people that have been in their lives or have happened in their lives that really just tore them down and broke their spirits. But not you. See, you kept going. Your spirit might have broken for that one little second, but you said, you know what? This is not going to define me in a negative way. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to survive, and I'm going to shape and reshape myself to become the best version of myself the version of myself that I've always wanted to see. Get in tune with your higher self because you are higher than what you think you are. And that's my message for today. I've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of people as of late, within the work field, at these events, just day-to-day conversations. And I'm starting to see that, we have an issue. We have a problem. And it's that we don't view ourselves higher than what we've been taught to. More higher than what we've already been taught to. We think that we're less. But that time stops now. Let's acknowledge our powers and our strengths, our courage, and let's use those powers for good. And let's start passing the baton and relaying information, this same type of information and details to people that we know in our day-to-day circles. If they don't get it right off the bat, don't judge them. Remember, everyone's on their own journey, and it might take them a while to recognize or realize how much power they truly have, how strong they really are, how courageous they are, how smart and intelligent, how they are the movement. Keeping on with the movement or moving is one thing, but you are that movement. The movement that you've always wanted to see, the truth that you've always wanted to see. It's time for you to think about what you want to be and speak about what you want to see. Take that with you today on March 12th, Thursday, 1:03 p.m. now. And just take that information with you. Take it as you will. Some folks might get it. Some folks might not. It might be very foreign, but it's okay. Eventually, everyone will get on board and start to realize how much power they truly have. And what is true power? Let's define that very soon. Maybe on the next episode, we'll talk about that. I want to talk to a couple of the rampagers and pick their brains on what power means to them. And maybe that'll be the next conversation that we have. But until then, just remind yourself of who you are. Remind yourselves of those things and the things that you've made it out of. And maybe that'll wake you up a little bit and You won't allow the things going on around you to define you or stop you from just improving on yourself and to keep things moving and to spreading joy, and from spreading joy and happiness and, that type of concept. So this has been your boy Arys Dejan. I'm going to check out. I hope this came across in the best way and positive way possible. I want to uplift people. I want to put the battery pack in your back because I expect you to put one in mine. This has been the Who and How Club. You are the Who and How. I am the Who and How. We are the Who and How. Without you and me, there is no we. So this is us. I'll see you guys on episode 21. I'll talk to y'all. And come out to Rampage next Tuesday, and maybe we can have these conversations in person, right? Let's debate it all. Love you all. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for listening. Talk to you soon. 1.